$1, $2, $3, $5, $10 donation to our pack later. I don't want you to finish the process now because I don't want to take away from time from Gordon. I really want you guys to hear what he has to say. But just text really quickly to 77948. And I just want you to text OABD. In a few seconds, you'll get a text back with some links to follow later. Again, please follow them later. $1 from everybody here will help. $2, $3, whatever you can do. Once again, that text number is 77948. Just text OABD, and maybe we can meet up over at the bar later and talk some more details about how it's going to work out. But thank you guys very much for your time. We do have a big fight ahead of us, and if there's anyone that knows anything about fighting, it's the next speaker. So I'm going to take off and let Gordon talk now.
All right, our next speaker is Gordon Shell, the Dogs Fighter. Gordon Shell is a mostly retired MMA fighter and animal advocate famous for challenging Michael Vick to step in the ring. Yeah! Still waiting for that to happen from what I can hear. Gordon Shell is a mixed martial arts fighter from Detroit, Michigan, who now spends his time raising money for otherwise championing dogs. Shell played a role in the 1 million Pibble March with Rebecca Corey in Washington, D.C. in May 2014. In his 2013 documentary, The Dogs Fighter, Shell enters into the ring one last time despite a career-ending heart condition. Defying his doctor's orders, Gordon enters the cage to fight for something he believes in, the rescuing of abandoned and abused dogs used in dog fighting. Without further ado, Gordon Shell.
All right, real quickly, you gotta do a selfie. Okay. Keep in mind I got punched in the face for the last 24 years, so I'm a better fighter than I am speaker, so bear with me. We're limited to 6 minutes. This could take 6 minutes, it could take an hour. We'll see how it works out. I'm honored to be here. I'm humbled every time I'm invited to one of these things, no matter how big it is. This is great that everybody shows up to support what we're doing today, and I hope that you guys continue to fight. In my bio for this event, they had me listed as a speaker at the Million Pit Bull March. I want to just clarify that. I didn't speak, but actually I think I had a bigger honor that I actually got to carry Rebecca Corey's dog Angel onto the Capitol lawn along with MMA fighter John Rollo. So that was probably one of the highlights of my life that I can remember. I don't remember a whole lot anyway. So here we are a year later at the Ohio Capitol, carrying on the tradition and the fight for this amazing breed and all dogs that suffer from abuse, neglect, and outdated, ignorant laws. Thank you again to everybody from Cincinnati Pit Crew and everybody that helped coordinate and everybody that showed up. If you follow me on Facebook, you'll find that sometimes I'm not the nicest guy on Facebook. I do get into little Facebook battles. And one of the battles that I do have is the electronic or online petitions. I speak out against those because what people don't realize is when you start an online petition, this Capitol building here, when that online petition gets here, they won't open it. Those aren't valid in a court of law or at a Capitol. So you're better off just doing something like this. And I kind of give the analogy of an online petition's like taking a squirt gun to a towering inferno. You're trying to help, but it's really not doing anything. So what we need to do is be the fleet of fire trucks and a towering inferno and all the fires that are burning across the United States. So marches like this is a continuing to help put out those fires, and I hope that people continue on. I know that Katie put a lot of effort into this. I know what Rebecca went through to put together the Million Pit Bull March. It nearly killed her, and I know Katie went through hell to do this one too. But I hope somebody continues this on for next year, and I hope this continues on in every state. So I know that sounds like big talk from an old, bald, washed-up fighter like me, and you're probably saying, hey, Chubby, what have you done since your last fight? Well, if you've watched the Dog Fighter documentary, which is still available on Vimeo and coming to DVD and Blu-ray, that's my plug, you can find it at thedogfightermovie.com. I made a statement that you don't have to climb into a cage and fight to make a difference. You can donate, you can volunteer, and you can adopt. You guys are all volunteering today to march on behalf of the pit bulls. We couldn't bring our dogs here today because that would just be too overwhelming, but you being here gives them a voice, and they don't have a voice, so we need to be their voice. And these people in this building here have to hear that voice. So when I fought in a cage, it was my stage in front of thousands of people, and it gave me a resource to raise money through ticket sales and through donations and t-shirt sales and promoters. But that was my choice to be able to fight. Nobody forced me to fight, and my promoter promised me that if I lost that fight, I wouldn't be electrocuted or drowned afterwards. So that's a difference between what I do and what these dog fighters. I'm speaking now to dog fighting, not only breed-specific legislation, because even though there's areas that have legal pit bull ownership, some of those people that own those pit bulls are dog fighters, and that was really my cause behind the movie. But that's elevated into the cause of, as I travel the country and actually travel the world. I just returned from Germany, where I visited Stafford Company over there, a no-kill shelter, which is absolutely amazing. But they also have breed-specific legislation in Germany, so we're not the only ignorant country and the only ignorant place that has it. So it's a worldwide epidemic, and we hope to remedy that all the way across the world. So fighting in the cage gave me a bigger platform to where I could go and speak. And now that I'm semi-retired and waiting for a failing quarterback to accept my offer, I'll continue in different ways to fight for these dogs. None of them will include online petitions. And what have I done? After my last fight, I was invited to speak in front of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, because in Oakland County, Michigan, this is, I'm from Detroit, any dog that was brought in that was determined by a Lowe's advocate or whoever it may be, that was bull specific, was immediately killed or euthanized. It didn't matter. Anything over 80 pounds was killed as soon as it was brought into that shelter. There were many groups that were going and speaking at that shelter, and they weren't getting anywhere, so they asked me to come in and be their voice and speak to the council. As I stood in front of the council, I'm supposed to be this big, tough, burly fighter, and as I'm looking at one of the board members that wasn't even looking up from his paper, he was just waiting to finish the meeting so he could go have cocktails, I got so angry and nervous that my voice started shaking, and I had tears in my eyes. And I told him, if you could give me a minute of your time and stop looking at your effing paper, I would like to speak to you. And that got his attention. And after he heard somebody other than a whole bunch of people that were just screaming the same message, we've changed that in Oakland County. And it wasn't just me making a bold statement to the board member. There was a whole crew of people that continually went to the meetings and spoke out intelligently and didn't attack the board members. So we were able to change that. I also got to speak in front of the State Judiciary Committee in the state of Michigan on 4 different House bills, one of them being Logan's Law. If you follow that, that's an amazing bill. What we're trying to do is increase the penalty for animal abusers. One of the other bills also sets up an animal abuse registry through the state police department, such as a child abuse registry or a sex abusers registry. That is going to now be funded by the state police, and it's going to be free to all rescues, registered rescues in the state of Michigan. And I ask you guys to do the same thing. If you're a registered rescue or shelter in the state of Michigan, you can use that registry. You can look it up. It's an online app that you can put the person's name and information into it, and it will let you know if they have any record of animal abuse, and it helps you to make that decision on when you're adopting out a dog. While I get to travel the world and do these type of things, and speaking's not one of the better ones, it's usually just taking pictures and signing stuff, I get to see a lot, and I'm still waiting for that one fight to happen. I may fight again, but right now, if you follow me on social media, and I ask you to, please go to Gordon Sheld's Facebook page. I also have the t-shirt that I'm wearing right now, is a message to educate people on breed-specific legislation and the pit bull breed, and on the back side of it, it says dog fighters are bitches, and I think all of us here will agree with that. The money and the proceeds from this shirt will go to the biggest fight of my life. If you've been following me, you'll know that right now I'm facing 10 years in prison on a Class 5 larceny. And what I'm facing right now that will surprise you, and it's another reason why we're all standing here, I'm being charged with allegedly rescuing a dog that was freezing and starving to death. So I'm looking at 10 years in prison for rescuing this dog, allegedly, while that failing quarterback did 18 months in prison and now is making millions of dollars. So, and that happened in Virginia. That's his home state. Less than 4 hours away from the state capitol where we marched a year ago to change laws. There are laws in the state of Virginia and probably in your states also that actually protect the abusers and penalize and actually will incarcerate the rescuers. So that is my new fight. Not only to get through the court battle, but once I get through this court battle, regardless of the outcome, you know, if I did what they allegedly say I did, and there's a penalty to be paid for that, I don't think there's anybody in this crowd that would have done anything different than what they're accusing me of. So I'll take that penalty. But beyond the penalty, I'm going to fight to change that law in every single state. When I was pulled over with no dog in my vehicle, the police officer said, if you want to just tell me that you killed the dog, or you could have even had sex with that dog, I'll write you a $50 ticket right now and I'll let you go. But if you took that dog, that's a 10-year felony. That right there set the wheels in motion for me to make a difference and try to change that law. So I want to make sure that that law is in place in any other state, along with the breed-specific legislation laws that we're all here to talk about today. People don't realize all of the other abusive laws that are out there that actually protect the abusers. So that's the fight I face right now, and I'll continue to fight. And I want to again thank everybody for having me here. Thank the crew that put this together, and I hope everybody will meet us over at the R Bar afterwards for the after rally. And again, thank you, and hug your Pibble.
Thank you, Gordon. And one more time, a big round of applause for all of our speakers today. I think they did an amazing job. All right, in closing, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Katie. She's got some last minute words for us, and then afterwards we're going to take a big group photo, so make sure you stick around.
That went really fast, didn't it? I want to thank everybody for coming today. I know a lot of you drove from pretty far away, so I hope you enjoyed the speakers. Our event is not over yet. We are going to take our party to the after party at our bar arena. It's about 3/4 of a mile down Front Street. And what we're going to do is we are going to have our lovely law enforcement friends here who are in favor of our cause here today. We do want to try to get everybody to come up together on the steps if we can to get one big group photo. I know that that's going to be fun and coordinating that, but I think we can do it. And then we are going to go out this way to the corner here. We're going to go 2 blocks west to Front Street, and then we're taking Front Street straight down to our bar arena. Once we get there, the vendors are all set up. There's raffles, there's really good food, there's really good adult beverages. It's hot, so I know by the time we get there we'll be thirsty. It's going to be a great time. I want to thank everybody for coming out. I'm looking forward to getting to mingle and network with everybody at the post party. So thank you again. I'd like to try to do this next year. If everybody thinks it would be a good idea, we will get a date on schedule. We can try to get this bigger and bigger. And hopefully every time that we come together, there'll be one less city in the state of Ohio that has BSL. And eventually, with Stefan's help and everybody up here, we will have no BSL in Ohio, which would be awesome. And then maybe we can start eliciting some of the help to get down into Kentucky, which is where we fight the fight in northern Kentucky all the time right now. They're 49th in the country for their animal laws. So once we get Ohio in order, which I think we're moving up on that list a little bit with the help of people here. So thank you so much for coming. If everybody can kind of come up this way, and we'll get up here on